Herbling, gobbling, globling. Give it to me, baby.
Super fast tortoise in the show, drinking coffee, wishing you well, because life is swell. Super fast tortoise. Start the morning with coffee in your cup. Time to hang out with friends and chat it up. Bring a smile and good luck. Hit that like button and let's chat it up. Good times start with us, you and me.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, welcome to the morning coffee show. Let's talk from in the shell and share good vibes and good times. Friends and friends have been the senses. Let's get up, it's senseless. Welcome to the morning coffee show, where we bring good vibes and good times. Welcome to the morning coffee show with Super Fast Tortoise. Welcome to the morning coffee show, where we have the flow.
Hey, everybody! I want to. Ooh. Whoa! Moving full. I think his fan is on. Holy cow, that was like a heartbeat. You are muted, Rayman.
Oh, yeah. I muted that way. You guys wouldn't hear me. Then you couldn't hear me when you needed to hear me. Man was caught up in a windstorm.
Right? Woo, but we'll get better. All right. Sometimes we start that way. Sometimes we don't. We just roll with the punches and go with the flow. Because everybody, we know where to go. And today we got a topic that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Game 3 of the 4-player dilemma. Crossing the line. Whoa.
I gotta go, guys.
All right, bud.
Sorry about that.
All right. No. Down the three of us. Hibble, you're muted. See, it's muted on screen right there. There you go. And you don't know? Everybody. We had a big, deep discussion in the background before the show started.
We did.
Yep. And it went nuts. It went crazy. I made jokes. That was the show. We didn't record it. We missed some good premium content there.
That was just the pre-show production meeting where we got our energy up. We got the energy flowing, and we're going to bring it to the show now.
Oh, yeah. We're bringing it to the show. The show of wonders. Show of wonders. Show of rights. Something, words, and things that rhyme. I don't know. My brain's dead. I'm trying to let the coffee kick in. I'm thinking of coffee. Hope you guys got coffee. Your libation of choice. Keeping you going. Yep. Okay, Hillbilly. Hillbilly has the face of 2026. If you wonder what 2026 is going to be like, just look at Hillbilly's face.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild year. We're 7 days in, and it's already been a wild year.
That's true. Been crazy. Been crazy. That's right. Anyways, how are you doing, Hillbilly?
Doing all right.
All right. You're still doing spoilers later today?
Yep, I did some spoilers this morning because they are dropping like crazy.
Yeah.
We're going to do some more this afternoon.
Some more spoilers. Spoilers are crazy. I'm waiting for the full set list to drop before we do spoilers. Because I like to go through and be like, this is good, this is trash, this is good, this is trash, this is good, this is trash.
Well, from what I heard on the grapevine, that they're going to have all the spoilers out this Friday.
Ooh.
Well, they should. We only have like 9 days before the set goes on into pre-release, so they better get them out.
Right. Then you got the early access coming out on the 14th.
Yep.
Yeah. So you at least got to the 14th for them to be fully spoiled.
Yeah.
1 week from today.
1 week. That's crazy.
I mean, it seems like everything is happening so dang quick now. Too quick.
Well, it's going to feel like that this year because every 2 months, respectively.
More like every 60 or like a 45 days or something. It's crazy fast.
Oh yeah.
Well, every other month, except for 4 sets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really don't know how Ninja Turtles is going to hold up against Lower because Lower looks pretty fire.
Have you seen anything from Lower One?
Yeah, I have. I haven't kept up with the spoilers by looking at them.
Oh, Lower One, yeah. I'm thinking Strixhaven. I'm thinking Strixhaven. I don't know why I'm thinking Lower One.
We were talking about Strixhaven earlier. That's why.
Yeah.
Strixhaven. No, I'm not trying to rush this year already. Rayman, how are you doing today?
Brother, I'm tired, but I'm here. I'm awake. I'm excited. We had 2 really interesting games of Magic played last night on the Mr. B stream. The games could not have been more different in how they went and how they played out. And then I worked last night, and now I'm here this morning. But I'm so excited to talk about Magic, and I'm glad that I got to catch the end of your guys' game last night.
Uh-huh.
I jumped in while Core was taking the longest turn I think I've seen in a stream Magic game. I still don't know what he was resolving, but I know it was one ability going on the stack because he had to wait until all of it resolved until the other abilities went onto the stack.
Right.
Started to resolve. But catching that game did give me the idea for today's topic. I messaged you this morning.
Uh-huh.
Because I think it's something that fits along with what we've been talking about. I think it's something that people should think about when they're playing Magic. So I'm very excited for today.
Ooh, that's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. I took what you said and thought through as much because the only piece of information you gave me was the line, and my brain like, I have to make sense of this. So I did my best doing the dilemma.
It's a concept from chess. Now, I don't play chess, but apparently it is a concept from chess. But I've always imagined it, and we'll give you guys a little sneak peek before we do card of the day and all that fun stuff. But I've always imagined the line in racing terms. If you know anything about how any kind of racing works, be it NASCAR, Formula One, any kind of racing, on the track, there is a line that the drivers are trying to hit and stay on. And hitting that line and staying on that line will give them the most optimal results.
All right. That kind of makes sense to today's topic. So we'll crunch on that one.
Little teaser there before we get into the daily stuff.
Little teaser. That's right. Speaking of the daily stuff, it is time to get to the card of the day.
Card of the day.
The card of the day was brought to us by TD Dude, and it's kind of obvious because this is definitely not much of a commander card, but more of a standard modern style card. I don't know where this is legal in, but you definitely want multiple of these on the battlefield.
I love this card. I absolutely love this card, and I only play commander.
Right. Guide of Souls costs 1 white mana. It's a creature, human cleric, 1/2. Whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield, gain 1 life and get an energy. So it's kind of like a Soul Sisters card. It says whenever you attack, you may pay 3 energy. And when you do, you put 2 +1 counters and a flying counter on a target attacking creature. It becomes an angel in addition to its types.
So I run this in Elish Norn,
Yeah.
my mono white blink deck. And that deck is always having lots of creatures enter the battlefield because they're flickering. It also makes a lot of tokens, so I'm getting a lot of life and energy.
Right.
And, Norn is inherently a 4/7 Vigilancer.
Right.
So with this, you swing out with her, she becomes a 6/9 flyer. And then the next turn, she becomes an 8/11. It's a very good card if you're making a lot of tokens in white and you have a creature that you can use the pluses on consistently.
Right.
I love this card in Norn. It's from Modern Horizons 3, so it's not legal in standard. Unless they've reprinted it in a set that I'm not aware of. But it's a Modern Horizons 3 card, and it was one of the cards when I saw Modern Horizons 3, I was like, oh, yeah, I really want this card. I really like this.
No, I can see in the token strategy where this would be good.
Yeah.
You definitely want to be pushing out those energies to pay the cost of attacking.
Yeah, and it's only 3 energy, right?
Right.
So it's not that if you're in a deck like Norn where you're just blinking stuff constantly, and this double triggers off of Norn, right? So one creature actually gives you 2 life and 2 energy.
Right. That's pretty
And
cool.
if you have a Panharmonicon in play,
Woo!
then you get 3 life and 3 energy off every single creature that enters the battlefield.
That's pretty good.
Wow.
When he said Alshnorn, I was thinking of Grand Cinnabite. I wasn't thinking about the double.
Oh no, sorry. I run Mother of Machines. It's a blink deck. So I want all those cool. ETB triggers.
I'm like, okay, you're like, she's the one that buffs everybody up. I don't remember her power and toughness. I'm just going with it, thinking you're talking about the one that gives every creature +2/+2, neg 2. I'm like,
well, I think they're all the same power and toughness. I think all the Norns are all 4/7s.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, doubling triggers. I can see where I'd be strong with this.
Yeah,
for sure. Glad we got that cleared out. But now let's roll over to the picture of the day. The picture of the day is when the whole table stops to help deck build because it underperforms. Game night turns into an all-nighter. Have you ever been playing a game and this guy's deck just constantly doesn't perform? So you stop the game. You're like, let's just try to build your deck to make it better. It's always lacking. Let's see what we can do to make it
that felt like me last night.
And you ended up pulling out pretty good last night. You ended up coming in second place.
Yep.
he had the win in his hands. I saw it. I was sitting there going, he's got this, and it just didn't work out that way. But
I know where I messed up. I shouldn't have played that creature.
Mm-hmm.
If you drop Grave Pack, maybe you don't win the game, Hillbilly. But you make Torque go, oh, I've got to kill this Grave Pact, or I'm never going to keep a creature on the table ever again.
Right.
Yep. I didn't have a sack outlet, so I didn't play. Therefore, I didn't play Grave Pact.
Right.
Then after I got my sack outlet, I was already done.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it was crazy. It was. We were trying to get you to scry as much as possible, and so you can top deck as much as possible. But like your deck performed well, but
performed all right.
like it struggled in the start. You were ignored most of the game, so let you build up into your powerful powerhouse.
I was trying to kill my own self. It didn't work because I kept getting land.
Right. But now look at you. So we didn't have to stop and deck build for you. You did pretty good with all that draw that you had. Holy cow! I wish I had that draw you had last night. You're drawing 3 cards a turn. Holy cow!
Hey, that wasn't my fault. I was drawing 3. You only had the card down there to let me draw 1.
Right. You had Frank's Arena out, but you had Dictated of Crew Fix out on Tom's board. Draw your cards. And funny enough, the threat I thought it was going to be never happened because we kept removing Tom's creature. That's funny.
I didn't get to see Tom do anything that entire game besides draw cards off Ristic Study. I have no idea what Tom's deck what he was even playing. I just saw him draw a bunch of cards off of Ristic Study.
Right. He played a couple good counter spells. That was crazy.
Yep.
But all right, enough with the picture of the day. Now let's get to the question of the day. The question of the day, this one is going to spark up a little conversation maybe. Super Fast Tortoise here with the question of the day. The question of the day is, which direction do you go when you politic? Do you go to the left? Do you go to the right? Or do you just randomly choose what benefits you the most? Let's get into this. So directional politicking is the question. Because like we look at the table and we see things going on. Hey, blue sky! Really quick, say hello to blue sky. Nice. Hello. Some blue sky comes by every other often, and blue sky. Nice to see you. Whoop, whoop. And that's how you know it's the same person. It's Lulu. Lulu. All right. Okay, back to the thing. So directional politicking kind of falls into this graphic we got for the topic of the day. Yes, I made a graphic for today. So like if you're player 1, do you keep going to the left or do you just strictly go to the right? It's because, like, if you read the graphics, it says first to draw is the first player, first to react is the second player. Do you start politicking early game because of that, or do you choose which direction do you go?
As somebody who politics a lot in Commander,
Mm.
I don't look at where the player is either ahead of me or behind me in turn order. I'm looking at each board and go, okay, how can they affect me, and how can what I have affect them?
Mm.
Because if I know this, if I see, hey, they might be able to interact with me, but I can also interact with them, then that gives us some ground to be on.
Right,
I
right.
can be like, hey, look, we don't need to be each other's enemy right now, right? Fighting wars on multiple fronts is a bad idea. There's a reason that every country that's ever done it has lost, right? Like fighting multiple wars on multiple fronts, bad idea. So if me and you can make a deal where we don't have to worry about each other, that's one less front that we've got to worry about.
Oh, yeah. Really quick, Captain Waffles, what in the tarnation's going on here? We're here to entertain you. Glad you got to stop in from your busy day at work and your busy life. It's been a while. Thank you for being a member of the channel, and thank you for helping out the way you do. And thank you for being here. I appreciate it. You rock, you roll.
Yeah.
The waffles.
Yeah. So let's get into the topic discussion. I need to read my dialogue here. Tortoise got dialogue again. It says the 4-player dilemma is where you put 4 players into a group game. You tell them only one person can win. You won't know when a person will win or who will win. But the purpose of the game is to make the most optimal plays and strategize against others. You want to disrupt other people's plans. You want to win, but for the dilemma's sake, you want to make it hard for everyone else to win. In this game of chance, you don't know if you will win, but you will try and put an effort into winning while trying to figure out the table's player and deck demographic. You will fight to make sure no one can win as well. Let's dive into this, creating the line of the game plan. And now, since you explained the line a lot better, we can say when you play a game, you try to create a line to stick to, then strategize to go forward, and have a goal in mind. You know, and here's what happens in Hillbilly and I's games most of the time. We don't get in a spot where everybody needs to be at peace. We get in a spot where one person's exploding. In particular, one particular person, I won't mention names, so always starts with soaring and something in his hand. And he's not here, so I'm not talking about any of you guys. But this guy always seems to pull that out in his first game. He always dominates the table and becomes public enemy number 1.
Hey, if you drop a turn 1 soul ring at one of our tables, you are the target. We actively hold them in our hands.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we have a turn 1 soul ring, we don't play them. We will hold it in our hand and drop it on 2. Because if you drop it on 1, everybody just goes, all right, we're going to kill this guy, right? Okay, good. Because they are going to be so far ahead of everybody else.
Right, but what we're talking about is someone who particularly plays Soul Ring most of the time, but usually follows it up with an Arcane Signet or a...
Yeah, I thought that they're definitely the target.
Right, and oh my lord, it gets crazy, and it's very consistent on this channel.
I mean, you're untap with 4 mana on 2.
Right, that's
untap on 2 with 4 mana, drop a land. You have 5 mana on 2. That's crazy.
So you know, and I brought it up and stuff like that, and but yeah, like, well, and the intent is a lot different too. When your intention is different. Because this guy comes in with the intent to win at all costs, while Hibbley's like figuring out his deck still.
Yeah.
Let me figure out my deck and try to play it so I understand it. And this guy's like throwing bomb after bomb out. That's the particular way the game goes for us. I mean, Captain Waffles, he used to play with us. Like, he play Magic for the most part, and he might get back into it, as he explained, you know, but he has different ways of getting back into it. But when Captain Waffles was playing, he would play to the table's desire of making it a fair game, but he obviously knew he had more powerful decks than us. So when he played his Saga deck which had Tom Bombadil as the commander. He'd play light until he decided to get heavy, and he would play synergies. This is one of the times when he found out I played a lot of board wipes. So I can confirm that when I used to play Urza, turn 1 Mana Crypt, Soul Ring, and Signet. That's a possibility. We get that. His Urza deck was good. Because Captain Waffles, Rayman, he used to be on the show for a bit too. And he would actually go to the tournaments, like the pro tournaments and stuff, and play in those groups for a while. He did that for a while. I think he was a level something judge. I can't remember exactly what level. But yeah. But life things got in the way, and that's why he's chilling out. And yeah. So but keeping to the line, the demographic, let me pull up the graphic. This graphic I made to kind of show you how the game starts, right? Player 1, first player to draw, first player to play and land, which is very powerful. Now, the Soul Ring stuff, that can happen.
Yeah.
But you're the first. If you're the first one to play land, that means you're the first one who has the ability to interact. Player 2 is the first to react to player 1, and second to play to draw a card, play a land. Then third player is the first person to prepare, because he gets to see what player 1 and player 2 is doing. So he's like, what is the best optimal play I can do to keep up with player 1, player 2, because I'm in the third slot. And he's third to predict the table to understand what player 4 might do. But player 4 is first to assess the table, because by the time it's his turn, he's got to see what player 1, player 2, player 3 does. So his weird advantage is he gets to plan around everybody else, while everybody else is paying attention to everybody else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. But he's the last to react. That's the thing I meant to spell there, but I missed the T in there. So it's react. So forgive that. I'll fix it. So yeah, first to react. So he's the last to react. So that graphics there. He's like, as a level 2 working level 3 judge, Lauren might bring me back into playing. Set looks promising. Nice, Captain Waffles. That'd be awesome.
Cool.
So, anyways, based off what I read and everything, is there something you want to say about the topic?
Makes
Go ahead, Hillbilly.
Oh, Echo. It makes sense.
Mhm.
I understand what you're saying, and I have to agree with it.
Right. That's just like the starting lineup. That's where the line comes in. Like every spot from first player, second player, third player, fourth player, it puts them on the line, and it gives them a direction. Like how we joke about every time I'm last in your game, so ability I win, like in the fourth place. Well,
Yep.
the biggest advantage to take from that is why I get to react to everybody else. So I get to play off of what everybody else is doing.
Right.
Other than that, I'm losing out on my first card draw. I'm losing out on my first land draw. Like, I'm not being able to keep up with you guys. But the more powerful a deck is, no matter where you are, you're going to dominate that spot.
Yeah.
So let's not take that out. So the 4-player dilemma comes into politicking, because if you're player 1 and you're struggling, you can politic with everybody else. Or you can use last night's game as a good example. I was picking on Tom that whole time, but Tom was targeting Core because he had all the powerful spells. Now Tom was trying to watch me. My plays were slow but steady, and Core was large and explosive because what he did last night is he had Zada out who copies instants and sorceries or things that target him to the whole table of creatures he controls, and he tries magnified with a double trigger where he had to sacrifice each creature and reveal the top card twice to put a creature on the table.
Yeah, and it took forever to resolve that.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
What is happening? Because he had so many creatures, and all of them had two triggers that had to be resolved before you went on to the next one.
Yep. Captain Wolf says if you're a first or second, usually plays aggressive role. Third or fourth players are most defensive and sees more information. That is correct, Captain Waffles. Thank you for supplanting my thought process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, and being in that fourth spot is not where you want to be, right? I mean, we know from analyzing thousands upon thousands upon thousands of games of Commander that the fourth spot has a lower win percentage compared to any other seed, and it goes around, right?
Right,
if it's him, that don't right. That ain't right.
You mean me?
Yeah.
Luke Whitehead. Hello. He's actually a personal friend of mine. I might offer certain decks prefer to be in the first, second slot like aggro, and wide decks where control the turtle deck like 3 or 4. That's right. Well, that could be definitely. But if you play my decks are synergistic, not synergistic. They build up to an explosive outcome. And that's why being in fourth spot is not great. Because here's what happens. Let me pop up that graphic. Player 1, player 2 are reacting to player 3, and player 2 is reacting to player 1. And people are kind of ignoring player 4 in general. Because if people on player 1 and player 2 are being aggro, they're paying attention to each other more. While player 4 sits abide, right? In that scenario, that when he explodes, player 1 and player 2 are focused on player 3 or each other and not player 4, and they let player 4 explode. That's basically what you're saying.
I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm saying it shouldn't happen that way.
Right. I'm not saying
that's where, and that's where like the actual concept of the line fits in, right? It's about knowing as much as you can, right, about what you think your opponents are doing. Right. And the more games you play in Magic, the more information that you'll have without necessarily having it. And the best example that I can give is there's a guy who comes here now. I'm hoping to get him on stream in a couple weeks. He plays a Golgari insect deck.
Yeah.
And the first time he ever came, none of us knew who he was. He came and sat down at the table with us. This was pre-brackets, right? So everybody's kind of explaining what their decks are, and I'm playing Norn, and he's playing Golgari insects. Well, we're getting pretty late in the game, and I don't have a lot of tokens. I've got probably 7 or 8 1/1 tokens on the table. And he plays a face-down creature. Now, face-down creature could be anything, right? It could literally be anything.
It could be a boat.
But he's playing insects. And there is a very specific insect that all insect decks run that are the bane of token decks. And it's Bane of the Living. So he sets that card down on the table, and I point at it and go, that's a Bane of the Living. And he looks at me like I had just pulled a magic trick. In reality, I knew what it was. I didn't see it go down, but it's an insect deck. He's playing insect tribal. It's face down. Bane of the Living's an insect, right? So knowing that at any time he could pay the mana and flip it over and nuke my creatures, my line shifted.
Right.
If I didn't know that or have a good idea, I guess no one truly knew, right? But I had a great idea that that's a Bane of the Living. My line shifted. I was like, okay, I've got to get rid of that. I cannot, if I'm wrong, so be it. But that's a Bane of the Living. So on my next turn, I tapped 5 mana and played Solitude and exiled it. And sure enough, it was a Bane of the Living.
Nice.
So
I was about to bring up pregame knowledge too as something to talk about. So that's a good one.
It's the line is every bit of information that you have. That's game state information. That's information you've gathered from playing your own deck several times. You know, as many times as you've played it. At that point, I've been playing Norn for almost 2 years, right? So I was like very familiar with the deck. But then also just your Magic knowledge in general, right? The knowledge that you've accumulated over the years of playing Magic the Gathering, all of that helps shape your your best lap line. And when new information comes out, that line's going to shift.
That's right.
Right?
The line will definitely change to your molding.
Yeah, because I had that Solitude sitting in my hand for a very specific reason, and it was one of my other opponent's commanders.
Mm-hmm.
But when that face-down creature hit, I'm like, oh, okay, my line just shifted. Because if he flips that Bane and my tokens all die, that's going to be a problem because I need these tokens at this point.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I want to say hello to Captain Waffles, who's hopped on to the show. What's up, Captain Waffles?
What's up?
How's it going? Glad to see you get a little time off to join us.
Well, I mean, I'm at work, but I'm actually in cell phone area. So.
Yeah. Right. Nice. Woo-woo. That's cool. But yeah, so pregame knowledge is something that goes on the line, right? You don't have to know someone's deck to have pregame knowledge. You can have pregame knowledge just by knowing the colors of a commander. You can know what kind of removal they're playing. If they're not running black, but they're running white, you can assume they're going to run a Path to Exile. You can assume they're going to run a Oblivion Ring, you know? Like if they're running black and white, you can definitely assume they're going to run black-white kill spells, removal spells like
Anguished Unmaking.
Yeah.
Vindicate, Mortify.
Thank you. My brain was trying to race and my brain was you know, you can assume that they're going to run that kind of stuff, but also you can kind of assume by the commander what the deck's going to do. That's pregame knowledge. Commander, knowing the commander is like, oh, this kind of wants to do this, so I can assume their strategy is going to apply this. Hence why pregame knowledge is important is because when you see certain cards your opponents play, you can tell in general if it's going to be a game changer for that deck. It might not be a game changer on the list of game changers, but certain cards are game changers on that deck itself. You know?
Yeah, certain cards will absolutely warp the current state of a board,
Mm-hmm.
whether they're a game changer or not.
That's why you always got to ask what that deck do.
Yep. What that deck do? Is it going to shake its booty?
So I have two things to say about the graphic, right? The graphic holds true when you have no clue what your opponents are, right? You sit down at, let's say you go to a MagicCon, you sit down for an event and you're sitting across three complete strangers.
Right.
Right? And you're player 3.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna be paying attention to player 1 and 2, and you're gonna kind of side-eye player 4 because you have no idea what's coming from them when it's your turn. But like I said before, player 1 and 2 are usually, if you're player 1 or 2, you're gonna want to come out aggressive because you're getting the fast start. Regardless if you're an aggressive deck or not, you know, you're gonna randomly get seeded, and if you're player 1 or 2, your best bet is to come aggressive, because if you play too safe, 3 and 4 already are quote unquote behind because they have to act or react. So you want to come out swinging, not burn your whole load and go, you know, burn out, but you want to come out pretty fast because you're already going to be a target for being first or second.
Right.
Player 3 or 4, you're going to be able to have more information and more lines of play to understand what direction you want to try to take the board.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know for me personally, whenever I played Urza, you knew how fast I could come out with Urza, but you also knew how much I could turtle and shell with Urza.
Right.
So depending on if I was player 1, player 2, player 3, or player 4, depicted how I would start my game plan, and if I wanted to mulligan or not, because my hand was either A, too slow, or not in the right scheme, regardless of who I'm playing. Now, better yet, if I sit down, this is scenario 2, if I sit down across from Hillbilly, Tortoise, and one of the other guys that we played with so much, I already knew the strategy or the gameplay that a majority of the time you guys were going to take.
Right.
So that altered what I was going to do, regardless if I was player 1 through 4.
Right. That pregame.
So,
knowledge.
that's where it comes in, the pregame knowledge, and also the fact that I've been playing since 2000. The amount of card data in my head is astronomical compared to some of the people that just started playing 5 years ago.
Right.
So when I look at a deck and I see a certain commander, I'm like 99% sure I know what's in the deck and what's the win con or this or that. And that's why I always told you guys, when you build a commander deck, you want to have like 10 win cons. You don't
Right.
want to just have one streamlined win con, because you saw how many times I won with Bombadil or Urza, and they were almost always different.
Mhm.
So it's about the biggest thing that I tell newer players: don't play the game, don't play to not lose the game, play to win the game. So like if you're in a scenario where if you got 2 lines of play and you say, if I do this one, I could possibly lose, but if I do this one, I could possibly win.
Right.
You always want to play for the win. Never play for the I don't want to lose. Play for the I want to win. Because if you play for I'm trying not to lose, guess what? The other opponent's playing to win, and win's going to probably trump the loss. And you're playing too conservative and too safe. Now there are times, yes, you don't want to just blatantly walk into a counter spell or something that's gonna like that is literally sitting there.
Mhm.
But at the same time, you have to think, if I play this direction, am I playing not to lose, or am I playing to win the game?
Right. Well, the point is to try
And
to
I
win
think
the
those
game.
are like really, really nice thoughts for people who have played the game as long as we have.
All right.
Right? Like that's really good thinking for those of us who've been playing since the late 90s, early 2000s. But for everybody else, that distinction is not always clear. And I tell people when playing, you have to be like, we can look at a situation, like me and Captain Waffles can look at a situation, walk up to a random table, look at life totals, look at board state, and probably figure out who is going to win that game without any information about who's got what in hand, just based on what we're seeing. That is not something that a lot of people, especially newer players, can do.
Right.
And I would dare say that if you were to ask players 10 times throughout a game randomly,
Mhm.
you're going to play this spell. Are you playing this spell to win? Or are you playing this spell not to lose? They're not going to be able to tell you an honest. They may give you their answer, but whether or not that is an informed answer, I think is a very different thing.
Right.
Like that's very, very high level. Like that's a 4,000 level class as opposed to like the freshman level stuff that I feel like most people are still dealing with.
Right.
At
Right.
this point.
So let's back it up, because like none of you are wrong, right? But your logic, like Captain Waffle's logic, is more advanced, right? It is more advanced. It's there. It's truth. But in game theory, the 4-player dilemma is about assessing the table based on your player spot and how you're going to work it. Because where you sit at the table is going to affect the way you politic as well, you know. And you don't think about it, but like maybe if you're 4th player, you're going to politic more than player 1, you know, unless player 2 is going extremely aggro and going crazy, which doesn't always happen. You know, you're going to politic to the leverage you got. But
and
like,
the bracket that you're playing at also matters too.
Yeah.
Right. Like we can call it power level, but the new terminology is bracket level.
not brackets.
Where you are, like if you're playing at a higher bracket level, like 4 and 5, where you're sitting at the table absolutely matters. When you can die on the 3rd turn, the person that's sitting in the first spot is at a huge advantage because they're the first one to get to the 3rd turn, right? So when you can die that quick, your seating matters far more than at a lower bracket game where the game is going to last much longer. And that has to play into your start as well.
Also,
if you're playing something like Captain Waffle's Urza deck, which I've never actually seen, but I could probably tell you 60 of the cards in that deck just off the top of my head, assuming he's playing a fairly normal Urza deck, and based on what he put in chat, I bet he was. He absolutely wants to be as far up in that table as he can be. Now, maybe he doesn't get that spot, but if he's in the higher the spot he's in, the far more likely chance he has to win because his turns are going to be so explosive.
Right.
And that's just not something that you have as often Like Tortoise, you're talking about your decks building and building and then exploding.
Yeah,
If you're talking about doing that on turn 7 or 8 as opposed to 3 or 4.
exactly. Right. And but like looking at the graphic, you're like, well, what does this tell about the advanced player? Well, it doesn't tell you nothing about the advanced player because the only one thing this graphic lacks is the pregame knowledge, which Captain Waffles, brought up. But not everybody's a veteran player,
No.
But like I said, if you know Commander enough and Magic the Gathering enough, you can assume what kind of cards are in people's decks.
All right, so let's take this to a level of blackjack, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you have 4 people sitting at a table of blackjack, right? Usually, the 4th player is called the anchor, and they have all the information known.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, in a commander game, the 4th player should be looking at the table with all the information, and like you said, should probably be the most political person there.
Right.
Because they have the majority of the information. They can make the decision on who they want to partner with, who the threat is, and all the other information. This is assuming that these are complete strangers, right?
Right.
So even player 1, before they even start their turn, and we're assuming this is a commander game,
Right.
they're looking at all of the commanders. The first player can be like, player 3's commander is going to give me trouble.
Right.
Because of I can see the strategy from the commander itself. Maybe it's an eminence commander, maybe it's a, like a Scion or Dragon or whatever, like some crazy commander that they're like, yeah, that's a problem.
Right.
They may immediately try to partner with that person and start something before the game even starts.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's where player 1 has an advantage with that. But at the same time, all the players can interact on that first turn while he's talking or doing whatever. They can all be conversing.
Right.
So I think the biggest advantage is player 1 and player 4. Player 1 has the advantage of the start. Player 4 has the advantage of all the information at the end of turn 1 to really make some decisions.
Right.
And
right.
so
I think that information, while very important, we can see how information just isn't everything, right? I mean, like I said,
but it does give it's like, like you said earlier with
4, you're way behind.
Yeah, like you said earlier with the whole like keeping solitude for someone else's commander and then it shifts. Yeah, absolutely. Like lines shift every time a card is played or every time an effect happens, lines can shift. But the point is by the end, like when he's in his second main phase, he has literally every information at his disposal, is controlling the speed of the game right now because he hasn't passed his turn. And now he can set up and be like, okay, it's main phase 2. I know where I want to go. And yes, things can shift by the time it gets to player 2. But at the same time, he now has his information in hand and all the information on the board.
Right. I get what you're saying. Really quick, I want to highlight Kevin G. Thank you for stopping in. He's an OG subscriber to the channel for a long time. Thank you for hanging out. And yes, Stormcrow deck for the win. There you go. But anyways, so all right. So here in this conversation, here's what I'm getting at. Here's what I'm feeling from the vibes going on. We got a very advanced, very skillful, very pro player mindset. Captain Waffles, talking about advanced things, and then they're good, but based on the basic dilemma of things, we're just trying to break down the line and the focus and what the 4-player dilemma is. Because I can listen to Captain Waffles talk about this all day so far. I've been enjoying it.
Yep.
But like the 4-player dilemma, like, have you heard of the prisoner's dilemma?
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually dealt with that in psychology in college.
Right. If I'm correct.
We talked about it in philosophy classes too.
Right. Well, the 4-player dilemma is like 4 players in that game. And this time it's about winning. And the winning thing is trying to figure out who's winning, who's winning, who's stopping you from winning, and the information in general, unless you politic, is hidden between each other because no one sees what's in your head in general. No one sees your plays in general. No one sees your thoughts in general, and you're trying to get out of this on top. And like I said in the descriptor, that you're trying to make it hard for everyone else to win. Because in this game, you don't know who's going to win. Even though your goal is to win, but you don't know if you're going to win.
All right, so I see what you're saying. Let's break this down to like its simplest form, right? You're player one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we start with player one. You're player one. Obviously, you get to go first, right? So you get the advantage of I play my stuff first. The turn order is me before anybody else. That puts you as a big threat. So your mentality, as knowing that you're a potential threat, is to soothe the other people into not looking at you.
Well,
and so, and this is, I mean, this is all theoretical, obviously. Yeah. And so I think the best course of action, from my perspective, is to come out looking as non-menacing as possible while silently building. And that's where you have to, you don't attack, like I said, usually 1 and 2 want to be aggressive. This is where maybe you take the stance of like, I'll build my board, but I won't attack. I'll play the quote unquote defensive role to where everyone kind of takes their eyes off of me, and then all of a sudden I just kill everybody in one fell swoop.
And that's something that happened for sure, yeah. And
that's something player 2 can also do. So player 1 and 2 can kind of similarly fill this role. And you kind of like politic and dictate and tell people like, well, I won't attack you if you don't kill this, or that's where the politics come in. And you just slowly, like, you also try to maybe group hug in a sense where it's like, well, look, this enchantment powers up my creatures, but it also powers up your creatures. So do you really want to get rid of it?
Right.
Like, so you can play that double-edged sword of like, yeah, it helps me, but it helps you. And so you kind of can convince them to not get rid of it. And it could be part of your in-game strategy that actually helps you kill them all.
Oh, yeah.
And then let's go to player 3 and 4, because I feel like 1 and 2 are very similar. 3 and 4, they can play, they're typically looked at as like the defensive players because they're starting later. So like people will look at them and be like, oh, you're kind of behind. I'm going to leave you alone. And so they can use that to their advantage, where they maybe try to convince 1 and 2 to attack each other when 1 and 2 were trying to build up.
Right.
So really what you're trying to do, what I'm getting from what you're trying to get us to say is you're trying to maneuver the players as if they're chess pieces in a way to where you can checkmate everybody while nothing happens to you, but you're going to have to take some licks. You're going to have to take something somewhere. And maybe you just decide, hey, I'm going to board wipe to quote unquote help the field, but really you've got a reanimation spell that's going to bring everything back. So,
well, I see what you're saying there, and you're giving me too much credit on that part. One of the biggest topics that we've been covering is getting people comfortable with like disruption, like land disruption and stuff like that, because you know how land destruction is salty in a lot of people's eyes. One of the things we've been working on is getting people to be like, oh, it's okay to get rid of that glacial chasm. It's okay to get rid of certain cards, and part of the plan, yes, board wipe. The board wipe, the reanimator strategy in hand is always a good thing, but like trying to pay attention to the table, trying to find ways to stop your opponents from going, because like fourth place has to wait for everyone else to go take their turns, and he has to decide, is he going to play something or is he going to disrupt something on another opponent's board, because he need, like in my case, if I'm fourth, I'm trying to slow everybody else down so I can build my board and keep up, and that is a arduous task for being fourth.
Yeah, and that's why your win spot or your win percentage chance in the fourth spot is about 10% less than in the first.
Right. So does that make sense, Captain Waffles?
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. I mean, like the thing with this though is like, yes, turn 1 may be 1, 2, 3, 4 like that.
Yeah.
But as the turns go by, player 1 who had, maybe a high percentage of winning, that could drop based on the person sitting in that seat too. Like if that person doesn't understand the importance that the game that they're in could be a marathon versus a sprint, and they try to sprint against all the marathon people, they're going to get hosed out quickly, and then the marathon people are going to laugh and just take over and win the game. So that's where it's your deck could be a sprint deck or a marathon deck. You just have to figure out after the first couple turns, because turn one sets the foundation, and then every turn after that starts evolving the lines of play.
That's right. Kip G says, I never politic in commander table. I'm not a senator or a state representative, bro. Just do what you need to do. I play the same direction, but sometimes I have to politic. Anyway,
you'll win far more games of commander politicking than not.
And like, I try to win without it as much as possible. And like, I will politic if I have to. Like, if I have to, I feel I need to. Because, like the way I politic the most is I don't try to make deals. I try to point out someone's issue. And I'm like, that person's becoming an issue. Look at that. If we don't handle that.
Yeah, and he's always pointing at me.
That's very true. When we're playing. Like, look at Lone Wolf. When he was playing his Aloro deck and he played that Felidon Sovereign, I'm like, if nobody can handle that Felidon Sovereign, he's going to win the game on his turn.
Yep.
That was funny.
And sometimes that is the correct political strategy, is to point out the threat, be like, hey, I'm not trying to say that I'm going to win, but guess what? The game's going to end if we don't deal with, quote unquote, that right there.
Right.
And so it's like, you're not saying that, hey, I'm doing this so that I can win the game. I'm doing this so that we can keep playing to see who wins the game.
Yeah,
I don't see pointing out obvious threats to the table as being political. Like, if somebody is presenting a win on their next turn, and I point that out, I don't see that as being political. I see that as just stating the obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I disagree, because what if you're playing with somebody who has no idea what that card is? It's a complete new player. It may not be blatantly obvious to them that person is about to win.
I mean, okay, so in any discussion you can have, you can be like, oh, what about this crazy edge case? I feel like in the standard game of Commander, if you are sitting down at a table and somebody puts a Feldar Guardian on the table and they are playing a Blink deck, you're like, that Feldar Guardian probably needs to die because there is certainly a Restoration Angel somewhere nearby. So I don't think that pointing out the fact that a Feldar Guardian is half of a combo that just ends the game is political in and of itself. I feel like it's just like, hey guys, look, if we don't do something about this, the game can end the moment he has 4 mana.
Okay, well, let me tell you this, because I don't believe that that's a corner case. I believe that that's a very common thing to happen in Commander games, that people don't understand certain combos. Because when did Feldar Sovereign come out? When was that card printed?
I'm not sure. I don't know what Feldar Sovereign is. I'm talking about Feldar Guardian.
It came out originals into card block.
Yeah, exactly. So that card is what, 10, 15 years old?
Yeah.
And if they started playing 5 years ago and they have no idea what that card is because their card knowledge base is low, there's a lot of players out there who don't even know about Grindstone Painter Servant. Like, there's a lot of combos that people don't know about. And so it makes it to where, yes, sometimes you do have to point out what would be blatantly obvious to you is not blatantly obvious to everybody else.
Right. And there's games we had where people took advantage of the fact that we didn't know all the cards like that and combos. Like one player that we've played with, he's had been corrected twice. This person's had been corrected twice on how his cards worked, and we had to force this person to walk through his combo pieces to make sure it's making sense, because some people just like slather the whole thing together, you know.
Yeah, some people don't understand how a combo works. They know it's a combo, but they don't actually know how it works and how to do it. They just know.
They don't understand the actual game rule mechanics of what causes the combo to actually go off.
Right.
They looked up and saw that it was a combo.
Okay, but yeah, that's cool. I mean, you started it a few years after I did. But my friends, holy cow, it is that time. We hit that spot.
Hit that subscribe button. Become a part of the creep.
Too much to take. So it's lit. MP43, are you game? Rise, creep, rise. Building the following as we gain. Spitting fire. and no one can bring us down. MTG3 in the house, we own this town. Ripping through the beats with a fury.
Woo, man, this episode was all sass and frass. Hope everybody's feeling okay, feeling all right. He's like, rock on. But it's time. We got to get to the shill section, thrill section, my friends. We got to close this out. I don't know if Captain Waffles has anything to shill out, but we'll start with him just in case.
So if you want to go to my OnlyFans, no, I'm just kidding. I've been working on trying to get back to having energy to even record a video. I've had a lot of stuff going on. And Lorwyn kind of sparked a little bit in me of like, maybe I'll come back and start making some content again, because I really like Lorwyn, how it's looking.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe I'll put out a video of what cards I think might impact standard or whatever, take my guess on it. But I've been wanting to kind of get back to making some videos, but I just haven't had the energy or desire. But it might come back slowly. So just be on the lookout.
Uh-huh. All right, be on the lookout. With that, we're gonna roll. Oh yeah, okay, you can find Captain Waffles' information in the description below. If not, his link to his channel is in the chat. And with that, we're gonna rotate over to the Rayman.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. Thanks for everybody who's watching. Another great show. I am here live at Mr. B's Game Lounge in Pennington Gap, Virginia. We did 2 stream games last night on the Mr. B's YouTube channel. We're going to do our best to get those out every week. My work schedule at the radio station is a little bit wonky this time of year with all the high school basketball that we cover. But once that's over, we'll definitely be on a weekly schedule. Next week, I've already got players lined up for another fantastic game. So check us out on YouTube at Mr. B's Game Lounge. And thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, for sure. His link is in the chat and in the description as well. And with that, we're going to go over to the face of 2026. We got Hillbilly.
Hey, everybody. I will be streaming again around 2 o'clock this afternoon. And plus, we're going over spoilers also. And another thing I want to mention is Wednesday, the 14th, will be early access streamer events that will start at 12 o'clock Central Standard Time, right after morning coffee with Super Fast Tortoise. And will not be a commander game next week, because I'm going to take that night off to rest up and get ready for this right here. And anyway, I'll be doing this on that day. That's really all I got planned for today.
All right. Super Fast Tortoise. I don't know what I'm going to do tonight. I don't know if I'm going to try to put a commander game tonight or play some more video games. I don't know, but keep an eye out for 7 p.m. Central Standard Time to see what I do. If you haven't, hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell for notifications, because when I do go live, you'll be notified. And if you like today's episode, and let us know in the comments below, hit that like button to show that you really appreciated the content, because we really appreciate when you do. But with that, I want to thank everybody for being on the show today. Hillbilly, Captain Waffles, Rayman, you guys rock. You guys rule. You make the show what it is. Everybody in chat, thank you for being here. You are awesome. You are amazing. And I think everything is going well. And there was a quick flash of Captain Waffles' face. Kevin G says links are not working. They're not working on one particular side, and I don't know why. They're working on the phone side for some reason. But anyways, I want to thank you guys for being here. Thank you, my channel members, for supporting the channel the way you do. You guys rock. You guys rule. In fact, all 3 of you on the show today are channel members. I appreciate that. And everybody who subscribed, thank you for growing the channel the way you do. I appreciate that 100%. And I want to remind you that you are loved. Someone's thinking about you. And if you can, say and or do something positive for someone else today, because you might be the change they need. And with that, let's get out of here. Woo woo.
I want to thank you, channel members of the channel, for supporting this creep the way you do. You are awesome. And you subscribers, everybody that subscribes, you're doing amazing too. Thank you very much for all that you do.
Start the morning with coffee in your cup. Time to hang out with friends and chat it up. Bring bring a smile and good luck. Hit that like button and let's chat it up. Good times start with us, you and me. Good morning, welcome to the morning coffee show.